stuff. We'll do that first. Plus, plus, I wanted to ask you about some of the hires that were done last week that I talked about when you weren't here. I just wanted to get your opinion on like those hires. I already spoke about it, so I just want to hear what you have to say.
There was only one, right?
Well, there was one head coaching job, and then
OC, and then
and then LaFleur went to the Rams, which I thought is
and now we could add Kellen Moore to this too today. So
correct. So then I have Peyton DeMeco Ryans and Kellen Moore. I didn't even have on here. Let me include that.
I think that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, he got scooped up in about 5 minutes. Yeah. Quick Tom Brady retires just because it's new, but like we kind of did this last year, so we don't need to redo the by Tom thing.
Right.
Championship week review. We'll just review the games.
Yeah.
I have TV ratings for the two games, and then I can compare them to NBA Finals ratings.
Love it.
You're gonna you won't be surprised if you're just gonna be like, damn.
Michael, good afternoon, sir.
Mike Dean from Dean Dome Sports.
He's feeling his oats today. I got a message early with the golf guys. I love it.
Yeah, they're back on the mainland.
I said we're back.
Yeah, he's paying attention. So they're back on the contiguous United States. NFL Pro Bowl selections that were just a little funky. Really, one specific one that I was like,
I know what you're talking about.
And then I got the LeBron bad foul call and his reaction, and then 97s.
Good to go, brother.
All right, let's get this fucker fired up. Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Good.
It's been a week and a half.
Are you fully better?
No, I'm hawking up shit like
isn't that something?
No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
All right, let me get this going here.
Yeah, light it up.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasanto, joined as always by my good friend Scott Bracey. How you feeling this week, bud?
Hello. Feeling all right, better than I did last week, but we're still going through it a little bit, but we're ready to rock and roll.
I told everybody when I was doing it solo, I said, he's sick. I said, because I even waited Thursday. I was like, I'll give it one more day. And then I'm like, when he says no, like 4 days in a row, that someone ain't feeling good. And I was saying, like, have you had COVID?
I don't think so. I never tested positive for it.
But
the 3 times I tested, I was negative. So
I'm pretty sure I did, but I didn't even get the test because I didn't feel that bad. And I was just saying how, like, for younger people or healthier people, the flu is way worse than COVID. I mean, obviously, when people are dying, that's bad. Yeah, but for most people, like I have had way worse experiences with the flu than I had possibly with COVID. So I know how it just knocks the stuffing out of you, man. Like I was saying, like there's been times when I had the flu where I just like pick my head up off the pillow, like just got up from a nap, and I'm like, no, and I just go straight back down, like nope.
I see. I don't get sick often, but when I do it well. 103
fever.
All
the way.
Like,
yeah.
I had a fire going, 3 blankets, a sweatshirt, and I was
shivering.
Like, dude, it was all like I was. Oh my god, man, it was.
Well, so the coaching carousel continues to move, and we have some new hires this week. But I wanted to get your reaction from some of the hires from last week. I talked about it, when you weren't here, but I wanted to see what you thought about it. So obviously, the big move was the head coaching move of Frank Reich going to Carolina. Your thoughts on that, from their perspective and from his perspective?
So I'll start with my perspective. I think you're with me here. We're both a big fan of his.
Yes.
With his work with Philly, I think he got. I think they might have pulled the plug on him a bit early in Indy, but obviously Irsay had a plan with this Jeff Saturday thing, which was bizarre to begin with. I think it's a great move for Carolina. I had them on my top of my free agent coaching list because they got a lot of money. They have an owner that's not afraid to spend it. They have some weapons. They have a great defense that Matt Rule built up, and they're all kind of cheap. So I think you get a guy that's on the offensive side of the ball to fix that. They do need a quarterback. Obviously, that's obviously a big deal. But DJ Moore's a big deal,
though, and that's why I guess that was the one thing that made me a little surprised that Frank Reich chose this particular job. All of them don't have like great quarterback situations, but I was a little surprised that he would take it just because of the quarterback situation. They have a relatively high pick. They picked 9th, and you could probably package something and move up higher if you wanted to.
Yeah. Well, who else interviewed him?
Well, so some of the people interviewed him as their offensive coordinator.
Right.
I think Jets wanted to talk to him.
Exactly.
I don't even know if they actually did or not, but
that's why I think he took the job, because I think that might have been Denver did not interview him. Arizona did not. It came from the Colts, so it wasn't going back there, and Houston's a nightmare. So I think if he's looking at it from he wants to be a head coach, he took the job that I think was the only option for him, maybe. But
here's the only reason I get a little nervous, and I say this in this very specific situation. Usually, you get 2 chances as a head coach. And I wouldn't necessarily call Indianapolis a failure for him, but it's like you get to fail once, but if you looked competent at some point during that tenure, you'll get another job. But then that second job, you better kick some serious ass, or else that's probably your last chance.
And he's in his 60s, so.
Is he that old now?
I think so.
So I was just surprised because I'm like, this is your second gig. I don't know if people look at him with the Colts as a failure. It didn't end well, obviously. It never ends well, but I don't know if this doesn't work out. I don't know if he gets another shot somewhere as a head coach. So that's the only thing that I was like, man, you're really taking a risk because you don't have a quarterback in place. There's a lot of plans. I was reading something today about them being very interested in trying to make a run at Derek Carr. Yeah, I mean, sure. So there's a couple teams, including my Jets. So, but that was the only reservation I would have had with that job. Everything else you said, I agree with. Like up and coming defense that is very young, got some weapons on the outside. Like, they
ran the ball better down the stretch without McCaffrey with the 3-headed monster too. So that's
no, for sure. I do get a little nervous about the owner Tepper. He's a little
flying the seat of his pants kind of guy.
He makes moves very, very quick. He's an impatient billionaire. I mean,
I wish I had that problem.
Being a billionaire and finding patience.
Yeah, let me see which one's better.
$20 an hour to find some patience. All right, so what about this one? The Jets let go of Mike LaFleur, and after an exhaustive search, smacking my head, your guy Nathaniel Hackett ends up with the job. I will tell you this. I tried not to be like overly reactionary about this hiring. Number one, they didn't ask me, so I kind of have to live with what happens. But
you didn't get a Florham Park area code in your phone?
Shocker, right? Yeah. Shocker. Mike Cohen from the Sports Talk Nation, he was on, made a couple comments last week. Maybe he cares what my opinion is, but the Jets organization wasn't asking. So, and then I try to look at it and I say, well, the guy did do enough to get a shot as a head coach at a good organization, not a shithole. It wasn't, the Texans. It wasn't like some shitty organization. It was a real good hire. He had to have interviewed well, had to have looked good, has a good reputation around the league. Failed miserably as a head coach. I don't look at him as an alpha, but he doesn't have to be an alpha here. And now he can concentrate fully, on the offensive side of the ball without worrying about anything else. So I'm going to try to be positive about it, but I don't know. You were excited about, you were feeling good. I don't know if excited is the right word. But before the season started or last year when they hired him, you thought this was a good hire. So take me back to that point and tell me now why the Jets should be encouraged.
Well, hindsight's 2020. Monday morning quarterback. That's what I'm saying. As we like to say.
Take me prior to this past horrendous.
Well, in last summer we thought Russell Wilson was a top 10 quarterback.
Right.
Hackett had maybe the top 3 with Aaron Rodgers. Mobile-ish kind of guy, but now you guys have a problem too because you don't have a quarterback either.
Don't have that quarterback.
So I kind of agree with you a little bit. Maybe you jumped the gun here. But
they had to get somebody.
But did you think? And I know you're not a fan. But if this was a move to maybe escalate Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
Listen, I think there is something to that, but I think if there was that much to that, Aaron Rodgers would have been on the Broncos last year and had Hackett as his head coach. So there's no denying Aaron Rodgers' talent. I just, who's the old Jets coach? Mangini. Mangini was on TV yesterday, and he said, there's a lot about Aaron Rodgers that's a pain in the ass, but you're going to win a lot more games. And you know what? Winning is fun. And I get that. But this is not normal. Like there is a lot of chaos that follows Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know that that's a winning formula. I don't know. Plus the other side for me more than anything is just, I don't want to buy a 1 or 2 year guy. Like I would like to I want a Justin Herbert. I want somebody who I can count on for the next, 6 to 8 years. I don't think that's asking a lot. 5 to 7 years. Can I get 5 to 7 years out of my next quarterback? So that's why a guy like Derek Carr.
Who was your longest tenured quarterback in the last 20 years? Sanchez, Pennington, those two guys probably, right?
I mean, even Sanchez was probably only 3 or 4
5 years. Yeah, I thought maybe 5, maybe max.
Pennington was for a little while, but he was always hurt.
He was in and out of the lineup all the time.
Yeah, because think of over the last since like we'll say like 2000, early 2000 when Parcells got there, it was like Testaverde, Pennington, Sanchez. You even had
Geno Smith
for a short stint, couple years. Who's the guy with the beard? Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick was there for a couple years. Actually played pretty well.
I have an idea for a game next week.
Sam Darnold 2 years. This one 2 years. Zach Wilson 2 years. Boy. Everything's 2-3 years. I would just like to have a little more. Throw in a Brett Favre was in there for a year. I would like to see a little more stability. So I just want to throw this out to you about that, though, because I said this last week when you were here. It's easy for me to say I want something a little more stable over the next 5 to 7 years. There's a real argument to be made that Robert Saleh is fighting for his job this year, and with that may also mean that Joe Douglas is fighting for his job, and they don't want to hear about 5 to 7 years. They need to win now. I get that, but that shouldn't be how you build your team for like next year. You should be building your team for like a 3-year window, and I don't like that.
Well, you thought you were when you drafted Wilson last year. You really.
I understand. But I would like to make a move that has a little bit of future thought into it. It doesn't have to be exclusively the future.
Yeah.
I saw a name today, and I'm gonna throw it out to you, and then we'll move on to the hirings from this week. Ryan Tannehill. No. Even though he throws it at like a 65% completion rate, it has like 100 quarterback rating.
No, because Mike White could do that.
I don't think so.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, you're not gonna have the run game that Tannehill had in Tennessee either.
This is true.
And I think Vrabel's a better coach than Saleh.
Yeah.
Are you entertaining this? You think or no? Are you with me?
Listen, there's what I want, and then there's what can you get. They need something. And I'm looking as like, I want Derek Carr. If you can't get Derek Carr, because a bunch of teams want Derek Carr. Atlanta wants Derek Carr. Carolina wants Derek Carr. New Orleans wants Derek Carr. So
everyone except the Raiders want Derek Carr,
which is so crazy to me, but whatever. But if you don't, one of them's not going to get him. So if you don't, then who are you reaching out to? And I love Jimmy G, but he just always hurt.
That's okay. I was going to.
I love him. Names. I would love to see him on the Jets, but I just
he's going to be a little bit of a dick, though. I think, and we're stuck up for him for a long time.
Why do you say he's a dick?
Just smiling on the sideline when they're losing the other day.
Fuck! Come on.
You would have killed us if we did that.
I don't know what was going on. You're going to take a still shot. Somebody might have whispered in his ear, like
maybe had a finger in his ass.
Yeah, you suck dick or something, and he laughed about it. Come on.
I have a name.
Go ahead.
If you whiff on everybody, Carr, Jimmy G,
Baker Mayfield,
Rodgers, Baker,
not even Baker,
Andy Dalton.
No. For what?
Ryan Fitzpatrick, the 1-year substitution to figure it out. But
no, we're just back in the same spot.
I know. This Jets seem to be in a circular situation, dude.
I know.
You're a hamster wheel, bro. It's fucking nuts. I feel for you.
I know. I saw something written the other day, and then we'll move on because I could talk about this all day. But I saw something,
and you're gonna get drunk faster. If you talk about it.
Yeah, I saw something written the other day about maybe early second round pick taking Hendon Hooker. I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either.
I don't hate that. Big, strong. But now the thing that they claimed was that they wanted a veteran presence, a veteran quarterback in the locker room. And now you're right back to 2 rookies. Well, not rookies, but you guys.
Okay, so what if you do Wilson? What if you do Wilson, Hooker, and Andy Dalton?
Yeah, I mean Andy would be cheap. If it was something like that,
Flacco's gone, right? See you later. Like, you don't want Flacco
dude.
back.
Yeah,
okay.
All right, it's gotta be. Something like that would be interesting. Like you have Andy Dalton as a bridge quarterback and let the two kids fight it out.
Yeah.
Let the two kids duke it out.
I don't mind that Hooker thing at all.
Yeah, I don't mind it either because he's a big, strong kid, and I don't care what anybody. I understand. Oh, the league is different. You can be little. Show me. Who are the little guys that are doing really well? Guess what? You got to be big and strong. You got to be. You
don't entertain like Taylor Heineke, none of that shit, right?
It does nothing for me.
Yeah,
it may come to that.
I know. I know.
It may come to that, but that does it doesn't move the needle at all. Like at all. Zero. I don't get excited about that. I'm not excited about Taylor Heineke. I'm not excited about Andy Dalton. I'm excited about Derek Carr. Even Aaron Rodgers.
Gabbert.
No. Even Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't want it. But, there is a level of excitement that would come with him being on the team. Like, let's say however they work it out, he's got 2 more years left on his contract. There is some at least intrigue, excitement, maybe elevated expectation that comes with having Aaron Rodgers on the team. So, from that perspective, sure. All those other guys, they're just stopgaps. And next year, we're right back where we are right now.
And then next off season too. And then it just keeps going. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you need a freaking answer. You got to get an answer.
All right, let's move on before you.
Lastly, the funny thing is that Mike LaFleur ends up offensive coordinator of the Rams. And I said, of course, because he was on the Jets last year, that he'll come out and the Rams will have the number 1 scoring offense in the league. Stafford will have the top passing numbers in the entire league, and he'll look like a goddamn genius because now he's coaching under McVay. That's called failing upwards, man. Well, that's called failing upwards.
Yes.
Go from the Jets to the Rams in the same position. He didn't even have to step back and be quarterback coach or something.
Do you think like the LaFleur 2 years in a row? LaFleur 2 years in a row. And do I want to coach? You think he steps in or he's not ready to be a head coach? McVay, I'm sorry. McVay 2 years in a row. The back-to-back, like 2 years, maybe quit and maybe not. You think LaFleur steps in? Is that the bridge guy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what I can tell you is what you saw over the last 2 years was not great as the offensive coordinator. He made mistakes. Now, the beauty of making mistakes is you can learn from your mistakes and then you've made your mistakes and now go work for Sean McVay, learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. That's the funny part.
As opposed to Robert Saleh, who's a defensive guy.
How about all these fucks in New England that failed? And Belichick's bringing them out open door. Come back in.
Because under him, they do well.
I know.
But out on their own, not so great.
Yeah.
So similar because McVay, LaFleur comes from the same tree, comes from the Shanahan tree. So it's a good fit. I just think it's funny. You leave the Jets, you fail as a Jets OC, and you become OC of the freaking Super Bowl champs from last year.
I love that I'm watching Josh Allen right now hitting golf balls at Pebble Beach, and he's like, no, thanks to the Pro Bowl.
All right, go ahead. Rub yourself in your pants area.
Oh, I got the shirt on.
I hear there's a new coach in Denver.
Oh. Super Bowl winning champion coach back in the day. Ex-Saint coach, legend. Sean Payton has decided to coach the Denver Broncos. And I'm happy on this for 2 reasons. One, it keeps Jim Harbaugh in Michigan.
Sure.
Because they were
continuing to chase
I think
him,
at some point to get him there. 3 times they called him, and 3 times Jim said no thanks, which is good for now. Hopefully it doesn't go anywhere else. But National Signing Day being yesterday. We talked about this privately in text messaging and stuff. That it was the only guy for me at that point. Because, if it was Harbaugh or him, I needed a guy with head coaching experience. These coordinators, these last 4 hires have been awful. And now we're in an NFL kind of time where no one gets 3 years.
Yes.
If you don't show some kind of progress in 2 years, you're cooked.
Yeah.
And that's been the Broncos. So new ownership, a lot of money, giving Payton a lot. I think he's making 85 for 5 years or something like that. He will not be great defense. I think there's talks now on maybe keeping the defense coordinator that we had last year, which I would absolutely love if we could do that. That'd be win-win all around. But he's also interviewing for the Colts job and the Cardinal job still.
What was the compensation?
Obviously,
What did
Russell
they have
Wilson.
to give back to
him?
What did they have to give back
This
to the
year's
Saints?
first round pick and this year first round pick, which was 28. They got that through the Dolphins, who got that from the Niners. And then next year's second round pick and a third round pick. My buddy at work was saying too, but at some point you got to have some draft picks. I said, yeah, but you know what we need right now? Stability at the organization.
Right. So that was what I was going to ask you next. Like, do you have any concerns? Like, obviously you're happy about getting Sean Payton, but do you have any concerns? A year ago, we were saying this team was one player away, and then you got that one player, and it didn't look like you're just one player away anymore. So do you have any concerns that you can't build? You're going to have a harder time building through the draft.
Yeah, my offensive line's a concern because I think we have two guys that are making $10 million. I think one of those guys are going to get cut. So now we have more work to do there. Brandon McManus, our kicker, who was a pretty steady kicker for a long time, is making a lot of money, and he wasn't great last year. I mean, nobody was on the Broncos, to be fair, but tight ends showed some signs of life, but Russell Wilson's never used a tight end great.
Nope.
But Sean Payton has. So that might be maybe somewhere in between. I take that. They got two great wide receivers. You got one back from injury not last year. Your running back might come back a little slow, a little sluggish. So that kind of scares me a little bit. And you're in a brutal conference and brutal division. So that's obviously like the biggest.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
But listen, that was the guy to get. I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Raiders aren't anywhere better than they are. I think depending on what they do with quarterback. The Chargers keeping that guy Staley's always a wild card. We don't know what the hell they're going to be like. And, KC's a juggernaut, let's be honest. So that's where we stand there. But
yep. All right, down in Houston, DeMeco Ryans new head coach. On a positive side, 3 straight hires of black coaches. On the negative side, the last 2 made it through one single season. I'd be shocked if that happens here.
I don't think this is going to happen here. Yeah.
Just because of the pressure that they'd come under. I believe he got a 6-year deal. That doesn't mean anything other than he's probably going to get at least 3 years to show something. And that's at the very least, that's fair because they're so barren of talent on that team. Good hire. What do you think there?
Good hire. Played there for a couple years. I think he played 6 years there. J.J. Watt, if you hear him talk, he's a big, big fan, supportive, football mind, smart. Proved that in San Francisco multiple years.
Did they draft him? Did Houston draft? They did.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I think that played a little bit about him taking the job because a lot of people were like, why the hell would you take that job? And I'm like, number one, you take a job, especially when you're coming as a coordinator, you take a job where you can get the job because, again, that first job, you don't have to do great. If you show competence, you'll get another chance. But I think part of it is, he cut his teeth with that organization. They love him. He loves the organization, has some, feeling. And it doesn't hurt that Texas doesn't have a state income tax. So that always plays a nice little part in it. But they got to have some patience, man. You got to have some patience and let these guys build this team.
Yeah, for sure. And, what's funny to me is last year we were kind of making fun of Nick Sirianni, making fun of Dan Campbell a little bit and making fun of it. And those guys are thriving. I mean, Sirianni's going to the Super Bowl. Campbell's shown so much improvement with the Lions, and everyone loves the guy. And we thought Hackett was going to be good. We thought, Arthur Smith was going to be better. Sometimes you just don't know.
Absolutely.
That's why DeMeco Ryans taking the Texas job. Yeah, is it weird right now? Maybe, but in 2 years, he could be laughing at everybody.
Absolutely.
He gets Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or whatever they do in the draft. And
only thing that concerns me is that he's a defensive coach. And frankly, defensive coaches haven't been doing well. Only the offensive coaches have been doing well. All the questions, or I should say most of the questions we have with coaches, they end up being defensive coaches because those guys just look at the game differently. They don't want things getting out of hand, whereas offensive coaches are way more aggressive. And it's an offensive league, so that's the only thing there. And who he hires as his offensive coordinator will play a big factor in how they do. If you look at Buffalo, McDermott is a defensive coach, but he had Brian Daboll there. And Brian Daboll leaves and they take a step back. See, this is the problem. You have to have that good connection and relationship between your quarterback and your head coach. But if the coordinator has the better relationship with the quarterback, it can be problematic because then that guy gets a head coaching job and now you don't have somebody stepping in. This is what happened in Buffalo.
Yep.
You know, Daboll gets the job, and you have someone stepping in that it's just not the same for whatever reason. Nothing wrong with Ken Dorsey, but it's not the same. That could be a problem in Houston. Hey, you hire somebody, guy does a surprisingly good job, and then he bolts. And you don't know what the result of that is. So that's the only thing, you know, that makes me nervous. So if you have an offensive head coach, you can continue that continuity between your head coach quarterback relationship. When it's a defensive coach, it's tough. Even the Jets are seeing it right now. You know, LaFleur didn't do a good job. You're bringing a new guy, new language, starting from scratch, as opposed to the head coach, you know, is on the offensive side, and there's more continuity over the time that he's there. So anyway, finally, Kellen Moore mutually walks away from the Dallas Cowboys. Interesting, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
And lands in a pretty good spot out there in Los Angeles, huh?
Pretty perfect, if you ask me.
Who would you rather coach, Dak or Justin Herbert?
Right, especially with
right? Failing up again. Shit. Another guy failing upwards. It's great.
Yeah, and another guy that interviewed for some head coaching jobs that went right to OC. Like maybe he didn't feel like he was ready or wanted to prove some more or maybe he thinks that Staley's going to be out the door soon.
Maybe, right? Maybe. And if he looks confident, maybe he gets a shot at that job.
Yeah, did you hear the relationship? How their relationship formed? That they had like in the spring, summer they do like those scrimmages before they play a preseason game. Like they'll like practice all week together, and they formed a relationship and they kept in touch all year.
And Staley?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. No, I didn't know that.
They kept in touch all year. Yep. And then
makes sense because they hired him within seconds. Kellen Moore got let go by the Cowboys, and literally within minutes, he was the offensive coordinator of the Chargers. So, and lastly, before we take a look at last week's game. Tom Brady retires again. I think this one is. I definitely do think this one is for real. I'm still, you know, so often in awe. Like the fact that we were talking about a guy who was 45 before he makes this announcement. We're talking about a guy who is 45 years old, going to start the season. Would have started next season at 46, and multiple teams were looking to sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal at 45. Blows me away, man.
Well, what he set the record for completions this year?
Yeah. And he broke a record that was created last year by
himself.
Yeah. So
at 44.
There's that. At 44.
No, it's really insane.
Yeah.
The guy missed one season. The guy missed 15 games 1 year.
I was saying he hasn't missed a game in 12 years.
And that's it.
Other than sitting because the game doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like, dude, like it is absolutely bizarre.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That TB12 thing where he's pushing, he really did a great job of setting an example for it. I tell you.
For sure. So we did our Tom Brady goodbye farewell tour last year, so we're not going to get into all the accomplishments and all that. No. Just 23 years, and he says goodbye, and now to the booth he goes next year. That'll be interesting. What do you think about it? You think he's going to do a good job with that? I think he's going to do a good job because he works. Because he's not going to want to look like an idiot. True. He's going to put the work in. He's not going to want to embarrass himself. He loves football. He obviously knows football. But we'll see how he comes across. Like Romo, I liked a lot. Now he's starting to hum and just scream in the booth. He's like, he's asking Nance questions instead of Nance asking. Like it got kind of nutty with him. But all right, so I got to ask you, who's the guy right now? He's out of Wayne Hills. Greg Olson. Yeah. So everybody's raving. Yeah, he's done a good job. I mean, like he really improved. Multiple outlets are like, Greg Olson is doing a phenomenal job, like explaining plays, like he's really doing well. He's the one that gets bumped. Yep. He gets bumped by Tom Brady. And it's like, you better be sure, you know, Tom's ready to do this and he's going to do a good job. Because I know he's Tom Brady, but we're not looking at him and he's not playing. Right. So he better sound really good. You know, it better come across great or else you're making a big mistake. And maybe Greg Olson says, fuck off. I'm moving on. I'll go somewhere else. I was going to say, I'm trying to he get picked up in a second. I was going to say, if there's a network out there, the Big Ten just signed a contract with the NBC, but he doesn't want to go to college. Like, but you know, ESPN's locked in with Buck and Aikman. You know, Amazon's got Kirk, and then NBC's Consworth's not going anywhere. So like, maybe Olsen does something with Monday Night Football because right now Monday Night Football blows. Well, that's with Buck and Aikman, yeah. And then they got the Manning cast. I watch the Manning cast more. If my team's not playing, I'll watch the Manning cast. Yeah. All right. let's get into last week's games. What'd you think?
Let's do it, sir. The first game, a snooze fest.
Oh, man.
And unfortunately it was. There's no fault of anybody's, just Brock Purdy getting hurt. But Eagles 31, Niners 7. Mike Dean, congratulations. I hope you had a nice turd to celebrate Sunday night.
I'm sure he did.
Purdy hurt. Josh Johnson then hurt. Purdy back in. Reported this week Tommy John surgery. That elbow was completely destroyed, and that's why you saw him on the sideline going, "I can't throw. I can't grip the ball."
There was nothing there.
Let me ask you a question. You being an ex-quarterback and a coach, did Shanahan do the right thing? Like, do you put Debo and McCaffrey in there? Like, I don't know how much they practice running the Wildcat and stuff like that.
Well, you put him in knowing that he's just handing it off.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, unless you're going to have him throw the ball fucking lefty, you're stuck. So that's, that whole thing, that situation sparked another conversation. So the league used to have like an emergency quarterback that you have a guy, he suits up, he cannot play unless your starter and your backup get hurt. Like, you don't have an option. You designate him as an emergency quarterback. He cannot play unless, you have that. And I just think, of course, that's a good idea. And it shouldn't take up another roster spot. So, like, have an extra spot for the emergency quarterback. This is embarrassing for the league, by the way. Mm-hmm. This is like your marquee weekend. I know the Super Bowl is the big game, but this is actually the biggest weekend because you have two games and it sends the teams to the Super Bowl. When I tell you the ratings in a little bit, you're going to shit like, holy cow. So it's embarrassing to the league that you have to put in a guy whose elbow basically isn't attached, or we're doing, 1905 single wing. Yeah. It's just, you don't want that. So you have to have a mechanism in place, and they don't, and that sucked. So, the game was so anticlimactic. I went out to a local establishment because I was like, you know what? I'm no Eagles fan, but I just down here is Eagles country by Atlantic City, South Jersey. And
you wanted to feel the atmosphere.
Yeah, just wanted to be around it, just wanted to be around the fun. And it started out that way. Plus, secretly I was rooting for the 49ers, although outwardly like, and it's 7-7. You're like, this is fun. This is cool. And then the injury happens. And San Fran hung tough for a little while, but we talk about this all the time, the psychology of sports, right? Like, you lose it and you're like, we can't win. We can't win with Josh Johnson. Like, it's just, it's not going to happen. And you just give way. At some point, your will just gives in. And that sucked,
Yeah, and from the Eagles' point of view, they ran the ball well.
Absolutely,
they didn't have to do much otherwise in that. Maybe Hurts' shoulder should be a little healthier this week. He didn't really throw it after the second quarter all that much. I mean, but
that's what's interesting, right? Like, Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, dude, he threw for like 120 yards. Now he didn't have to, but we talk about this all the time. Like, as the playoffs move on, you're playing better and better teams. If Purdy doesn't get hurt, I would have loved to have seen what would happen.
I know.
And how they would react if they fell behind 14-7 or something like that. Because the reality is we haven't had to see that from a Jalen Hurts. We haven't seen them fall behind 21-7. And like I say to you all the time, you want to show me who a good quarterback is? Here's the test. It's the fourth quarter. You're down by 2 scores. You have to throw the ball, and the other team knows you're going to be throwing the ball. Can you still make completions? Those are the guys who are real quarterbacks. I still don't know that with Jalen Hurts. Okay, I still don't know that. I don't know that if frankly, it's the same conversation. I think he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson, but it's the same thing. It's great when you're out in front, and it's fun as shit to watch for sure, right? And it's all that stuff. It's awesome. But when you're down by 2 scores and there's 6 minutes left, you have to throw the ball. They know you're going to throw it. Can you still do it? And I just don't know, only because they've never been in that situation. The Eagles really this year haven't been in that situation at all. And when they have fallen behind, which is very, very, very rare, they lost. So that's the only thing that I'm still interested in. We have no questions of that with Mahomes. We've seen him do it many, many times. Fall behind, and then just because he's an elite passer, maybe the best passer ever.
And fall behind by multiple scores early, too.
Right, yeah, big time. Sometimes by 3 touchdowns and come back and win the game. So that's my only thing. But the way they ran the ball, that offensive line, the way they ran the ball, and obviously the way they get after the quarterback, god damn, does that make things interesting? And it's fun. They deserve to be here. They deserve to be here. They were the best team in the league all year long. They were as dominating as you can be in the playoffs. I mean, 38-7, 31-7. Isn't that what the two scores were?
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about the injuries, but the fact that you put 31 on the board, and you probably could have put a little more if you really wanted to, that says something. Sure, their will was broken because they lost their quarterback, but they've been dominant.
They're not in a position to feel sorry for you. So
hell no, nor should they. Absolutely. So it was it was good for them. It just, I was telling one of my students at school, I said, you want the other guy to finish because the value of the win, it loses a little bit of value. It doesn't lose it in the sense of like what it means moving forward. It just loses it in the moment. You're like, you don't walk off the field with the same feeling. You just don't. The other team is just decimated by injuries. You're not like, yeah. It's just a little different. It's like beating your 5-year-old niece in checkers or something like that. You're like, it's not the same. So, but you take it and you're in the Super Bowl, and this is the second time in 5 years that they've been in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, something like that.
Say what you want. Howie Roseman, they wanted to run his ass out of town just like 2 years ago, dude. They wanted him out because they looked at him as the problem. They thought Lurie was crazy. Jeffrey Lurie, the owner. I think Lurie is a little crazy, but regardless, Howie Roseman has done a fantastic job. And like we said to countless times, somehow this team is built while at the same time having like $50 million in dead cap space. I don't know.
Crazy.
That is the real miracle. They had the highest or the second highest cap hit this year.
Freaking Rams.
Cap money. Unbelievable.
Because all their guys stayed healthy for the most part. Like
absolutely. So
congrats to the Eagles. We move on to the AFC. Kansas City 23, Cincinnati 20. This game was a roller coaster ride, basically the whole way through. Burrow looked slightly off to me, a little forcing some stuff. And
who's that D tackle? Chris Jones? Is that his name?
Yeah, Chris Jones.
He was a major problem. He was a major reason why Joe Burrow wasn't doing too good.
I don't like we've been fans of Zach Taylor for 2 years. 8 carries for Joe Mixon. 8. That's how you stop Frank Clark, Chris Jones.
What game were we talking about? Something similar. Just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we were saying like, God, they didn't hand the ball off in the second half. I don't know who it was though. Was it? It might have been them against Baltimore. Against the Ravens, where they only ran the ball like 3 times in the second half. We were like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. I think it was them. I think it was them.
And then they run the ball like crazy. Buffalo game was never in doubt.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, so that was, to me, that was like the biggest surprise. It wasn't so much Joe Burrow, although he didn't play great. It wasn't so much Mahomes, although he does what he does when he does it. Unbelievable. The story was the Kansas City defense. The fact that they held the Bengals to 20 points. I mean, that's a fully loaded offense right there. I know they were missing a couple offensive linemen, but it didn't bother them against Buffalo. So the defense is what really – what's that?
And a red-hot team coming in.
Yeah. Plus, to your point, even getting specifically against the Chiefs, they had a 3-game winning streak against the Chiefs. Man, there's something to be said about having that confidence. And then, Joe Burrow has he's just oozing machismo all the time. Like,
yeah.
They
got a little too cocky, though, I think, the Bengals.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
A little bit.
But to only score 20 points against that Kansas City defense – That's not okay. That's not okay.
You mentioned Mahomes, ankle good enough, mobility. You could tell a couple of throws when he was going to his left. He had to put all that pressure. He was a little gimpy. The big play down the stretch, running for the first down, slightly late hit out of bounds. You had to call it.
Absolutely.
White.
I hate these calls, but that one was legit.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't malicious. I agree. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I feel bad for him too.
No. Yeah. Listen, he's trying to make a play. Sometimes you lose the fact that where are you on the field, and what's he in the second year? I think a couple guys stood up for him in the locker room. Good teammates there. They didn't. The old saying, you didn't lose the game by one play, but it's kind of hard to look at it when it's
But it's hard to look at
dude,
it because if he doesn't
that
make
goes
that
from a
play,
60-yard field goal to a 45-yard.
They don't even
goal.
attempt
it's a
it.
huge difference. Yeah,
they don't even attempt it. They probably try to run one more play on offense to maybe get 5 or 10 more yards.
Yeah.
They're not because that from a 40. What was it? Ended up being like a 45-yard field goal.
40. Yeah, it would have been 60. Yeah.
Yeah. He barely made it. He only made it over by about 5-6 yards from 45. So they probably don't even attempt it from 60. And you're in overtime, and then who knows what happens.
Besides that call was right, but the refs did not have a good day.
No, they didn't. I'm always one to give refs a little bit of a break. Players make mistakes all the time. Coaches make shitty calls all the time. These guys are humans watching giant, super fast humans go at 100 miles an hour. It's tough sometimes, dude. I have a colleague that I work with, and he referees high school football. And he's often a back judge behind the defense. And so he's in a position a lot of times to make calls on, pass interference and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a big one. And you got to remember, you're running. So, like, your vision is bouncing while you're running. These guys are running faster than you. You're watching the ball and the player and the other player, and you're trying to get this picture. And sometimes you either don't have the right angle, or you didn't turn your head fast enough, or you just don't catch it. It does happen. So I try not to like kill the refs all the time. When I do kill them more often is like when they think they see something that didn't happen. It's like, why are you calling? Like, I've seen sometimes with some of these holding penalties when really what it was a pancake block. This happened a couple times in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the last regular season game. Like, that's not a fucking holding, dude. Just because he goes to the ground doesn't mean I pulled him to the ground and it wasn't. Right. That I don't like. You shouldn't be throwing. That's when I get pissed. If you didn't see it, then just don't call it. Now, it might have been a bad call that you didn't see it, but you can't call what you don't see. You can't assume a penalty. You need to have seen him grab him or whatever whatever the penalty was. So, but I feel bad about the rest because we're like, they're supposed to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Mike Florio saying like there should be able to have instant replay on every single play. That sounds entertaining.
Oh yeah,
that sounds great because Mike Florio never makes mistakes, right? Mike Florio's perfect.
Let's speed up the game.
Give me a break, dude. I mean, so these things happen. Everybody's making mistakes here and there, and everybody makes bad plays. Referees do it too. So, but some of these were a little didn't look good, especially in the playoffs. Especially in the
3rd and 9, the guys run, the back judge is running up, and they're running a play, and then they redo the play, and like, oh my god,
I know, I know, it's a bad look. But then you have people with their conspiracy theories. Oh, it's rigged. You're right. They want Jacksonville in the playoffs. Sure. They don't want Green Bay. They don't want Tom Brady. They want, come on. It's silly. That's silly stuff.
What do you think about these all-star crews, though? Do you think they should keep the same crew? Because they know.
I think that's probably a better idea to keep crews together because they know how to work together.
It's teamwork, right? That's what it is.
Probably. Have they always done that? Like all-star crews?
Well, I know that the first year that I remember them doing it was that blown call with the Rams and Saints. Remember that pass interference call when the guy got mugged? That's what I remember. And listen, you get all the guys together, you huddle up, and just if someone just goes like this, looks at the jumbotron and go, all right, listen, we fucked it up. Let's just somebody throw a flag. Hey, listen, I'd rather get the call right. I don't care how you do it.
Absolutely. Just do it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it should just be keep units together. Keep units. Yeah. They've been working together all season. You build a rapport, It's like it's no different than the teams on the field. You got to learn to work with the guy next to you. How does he work? What does he do? How does he move? Where's he looking? Where am I looking? And you communicate. How many times these guys have these little huddles? And I know as referees, they get together before games and they get together after games and discuss, hey, what went down in this game? What did we miss? What could we do better? They do it all the time. Now you're going to put them together with somebody they don't work with. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So
it doesn't.
But yeah, that was a huge play. Of course, Patrick Mahomes comes up big running the ball. The guy can't even walk, but then somehow he's able to run and put them in position. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for a while now. He's the best quarterback. To me, he's the best quarterback in the league. There's nobody I would take instead of him. There's other guys I like, but he's just different, dude. He has no holes. He just has no holes in his game. He's mobile, smart, leader, tough, always available, can run. Obviously has a cannon for an arm, and he's accurate. Like there's nothing not to like, and I love his attitude. When I saw him after the game the week before when he hurt the ankle and he was just saying, I didn't want to go out. I'm not going out. I don't care. I'll do it at halftime. I like that, dude. You think you're seeing that from Kyler Murray? I don't think you're seeing that from Kyler Murray. Like,
Lamar Jackson just proved it to you.
Exactly. So, these are factors that matter because it's not just the fact that he played. It's the fact that his teammates see that he's playing even though he can't walk. And that puts a burden on you as his teammate to say, I need to do more. I've been doing my job. Now my job is not enough. I need to do even more. And you get everybody thinking that because you got this one guy who steps up like that. I mean, it's something else. So I'm fascinated by the matchup. Should be really interesting. We'll get into the game itself next week. We'll take a look at matchups, some key positions and all that kind of stuff, and what we think are strong points and weak points for each team. We'll get into that whole thing next week. Did get some ratings for the game, and I thought this was unbelievable. First of all, Chiefs Bengals, 53 million people watched that game. And it wasn't like Eagles 49ers, there was too far behind. That was 47.5 million. So if you're wondering, like, well, what does that mean? Like, is that a lot? Is that a little? Let me just give you an example. Last year, NBA Finals. Now, this was the best year the NBA Finals had rating wise in since 2017. But yet it's still down from before that. Like, they're still having a rough time. NBA Finals averaged 10 million per game.
Ooh.
So just north of 10 million per game. So like
weeknight too. Oh man.
Dude, so an NFL championship game getting 5 times, both of them getting about 5 times the ratings of an NBA Finals game. It's crazy, dude. NFL is king, and that's all there is to it. So something else. And what does the Super Bowl get? Does that end up getting like 100 million? Is it end up being like 100 million people?
Yeah,
100 million TVs or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
So,
my God,
NFL's king. It is what it is.
Speaking of NBA, your buddy LeBron did something stupid, right?
Well, LeBron went LeBron. Now, I'm sure you saw the play, right?
Yeah.
What was this over the weekend?
Saturday night.
It was Saturday, right? So, did he get fouled? Probably. I mean, yeah. It's not the fact that he complained about the foul. It's the histrionics of he falling to the ground like someone just murdered your firstborn. Give me a break, dude. And what makes it worse, like this is why I end up thinking like he's so fake. Like he's like the fakest big time. Like big time athletes don't have to be fake. They're big time. Michael Jordan didn't have to be fake. Tom Brady doesn't have to be fake. Even Aaron Rodgers says, fuck you. He doesn't have to be fake. Like, this is me. Take it or leave it. Tough shit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't care. LeBron's the fakest athlete superstar, megastar. He's the fakest one I've ever seen. And what bugged me about this, just utter overreaction of falling to the ground almost in the fetal position, like praying to Allah on his hands and knees. This is the guy who has gotten more calls because of stupid pussy ass flops than anybody I've ever seen in the league.
Right.
With the fake ass fouls and throwing his hands up in the air like I just got killed and he didn't even get touched. Making like he got poked in the eye and then when they slow down the video, you see that the finger didn't even come within 4 inches of his eyes. So that's why it's like, you're fake as shit. I can't stand you. And on top of that, you did this to yourself because you flop all the time. So you put it in these guys' heads that you're full of shit when you're calling for a foul. That's on you, dude. That's on you. You did that. And oh, by the way, like I just said before, especially down the stretch of games, these guys aren't calling fouls. They very rarely called fouls down the stretch of games. They let the players, unless it's like an egregious foul, they let the players work it out. They let the players play. Go win the game. Don't look for a foul with like a couple seconds left or whatever the hell it was. So that's what it was. Just embarrassing. I'm like, look at yourself. That's how you react. The best player on the planet like falls to the fetal position almost in tears because somebody scratched your forearm with their fingernail. Give me a break, dude.
Yep.
Give me a break. That's what, to me, I was like, what's wrong with you?
I've had it with him. I know he's going to play for 4 more years.
Yeah, probably. And he's still great. You know, he's
Yeah, I
still
know.
one of the
I
top
know.
3 players, 4 players in the league.
I've had it. I've had enough.
But he's just a douche. And that's the thing to me. It's just like, you're just so fake. You're fake ass. You're fake outrage. You're fake. You know that face he makes when he like dunks the ball and it's like,
yeah, he's running back on the
fake
court.
as shit. It's so fake, dude. That's not real you. That's you playing to a camera. And it's just embarrassing to me. That's embarrassing. But as far as that call, you brought that on yourself because of all the flopping that you do, like the overreaction flopping that you do. So fuck him. I wouldn't like him no matter what. So interesting selections for the Pro Bowl, don't you think?
There's one that's no one wants to play in it, and it's not even a game. It's a flag game. I mean, the whole thing is just bananas to me.
So you make a good point. Like, how many guys bailed from the AFC? So you got Justin Herbert said no, right?
Josh Allen said I'm hurt, but he's playing golf right now.
But, yeah. Tua was on concussion protocol, although he cleared that now.
As soon as Brady retired, the Dolphins said, we better say he's all right.
Suddenly his head feels better.
Mahomes can't go because he's in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, correct. And I guess Joe
Burrow probably said, I need a break.
Fuck that. Yeah. So now you're left with, who are the starters now for the AFC?
Is it Trevor Lawrence, one of them?
I think Trevor Lawrence is one of them. Who's the other one? Like, who's the other one before we get to? Well, I guess we can say who the one that was just like the unbelievable sort. Like, you're just reaching. We're now giving backup quarterbacks.
I got to be honest with you. I don't even know where to guess next.
So, Tyler Huntley.
It's not Russ, is it?
Tyler Huntley. Frankly, Pickett from the Steelers deserves it more than friggin' Tyler Huntley. I don't know how Tyler Huntley starts 6 games and somehow he makes it to the Pro Bowl.
What do you throw? 2 touchdowns?
I don't even know, dude. I just like.
I think so.
I'm thinking through the league. Like, there was nobody else. Maybe there was nobody else.
I mean, who do you give it to?
Well, who?
Russ.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think Kenny Pickett would deserve it more than Tyler Huntley.
Carr wasn't even on the team. Tannehill ended the year hurt.
The other one. He is. Carr is one of them.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's a Pro Bowler, and he said he'll don the Raiders helmet one more time.
Oh, okay.
Because my cousin was asking, what helmet is he going to wear? Just a blank?
Yeah. Fresno State.
So I just saw today that he'll wear.
Are they even wearing helmets? It's flag football.
Well, that's it too, right? Yeah. I guess everybody has their logo with them.
Yeah, jersey. Yeah.
But
this is. I can see this going well.
I was just saying, aren't you just hoping someone tears an ACL while playing flag football?
No, I don't.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Like, what a dumb idea. If it's not, if you're not going to play, just don't play.
You remember Robert Edwards on the beach game in like the late 90s?
Yes. This is what I'm saying. What are you doing?
Kill his career. Yeah, what are we doing, guys?
Listen, neither one of us had a problem with them bailing on the Pro Bowl game because it wasn't on a game, so why bother?
I remember you guys talking to us in high school. If you guys are afraid to play, if you guys are going to play like you're afraid to get hurt, you're going to get hurt.
Oh, you're going to get hurt. It's over.
You got to go. You got to go hell-bent for election and just
you might get hurt anyway. Yeah, you might get hurt anyway, but you're definitely going to get hurt if you play timid. You can't do it.
And there's a certain human being, one of my best friends that comes to mind. I won't mention his name, but I think that's where you guys are going with it. And this is exactly what this game has written all over it.
Oh, my God. If anybody even, jams a finger, the question is immediately going to be raised. What the hell are we doing, folks? What are we doing here? I think that they would have just been wise to have, skills competitions all weekend and do or all day. Sunday.
The Mannings are coached. Did Eli and Payne are coaching these teams?
I don't know. I never care about the Pro Bowl.
No,
I never care. I haven't watched that game in decades.
The only game I really kind of watch is the baseball All-Star games because you're still
because they're
baseball.
playing it too, and it matters. But they're playing it that game's being played full speed. The NBA All-Star game is the worst thing going. It's just
it's you're playing at a park.
No, dude, I can't even. I just can't even. But yeah, I just I don't know why they even bother playing flag football. And God forbid someone gets hurt doing that, man. Anyway, that's all I got. You got anything else for today?
I got some 97s to wrap this up.
Let's see these 97s.
We're getting closer to the.
Have you been working? Have you continued to work on your new?
So last week was a complete pause because my brain was malfunctioning. So I have something there. I gotta dot the I's and cross the T's.
Still working on it. Still working
on
it.
Something.
Okay.
So I have 6 for you this week because it's a slow week and fuck it, it's our show. So we can do
Why
whatever we
not?
want.
You can do anything we want.
So number 6, Super Bowl champion, 1996 Defensive Rookie of the Year. I want to see, and by the way, feel free to guess on all these too, by the way,
Okay.
sir. 2002 All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler, ex-Cardinal, Buccaneer, and Bronco, defensive end.
Nope.
Simeon Rice.
Good one. Okay.
Number 5, 2000 All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2000s All-Decade Team, ex-Saint, Cowboy, and Ram defensive tackle.
Nope.
Leroy Glover.
Okay. I wouldn't have got that one.
I think you'll get this one. I'm confident in you.
You have faith?
3-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-American, College Hall of Famer, ex-Buffalo Bill, Falcon, and Colt linebacker, and has one of the greatest names in football, college and football history. I think.
I feel like I know this one. Linebacker. First letter of first name.
C.
Nope. Go ahead.
Cornelius Bennett.
Damn it. Go ahead.
Number 3, 2-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 2000s All-Decade Team. I think he's a potential Hall of Famer. Ex-Bengal defensive tackle, Geno Atkins.
Okay.
Number 2, 3-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, an absolute stud for the Pittsburgh Steelers the last 10 years. Defensive tackle.
Nope.
Has a famous father.
Nope.
Cam Hayward.
Who's his famous father?
Ironhead Hayward.
Is that his dad?
Craig Hayward, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Well, you're swinging like a fucking making a cold over there.
No,
Number 1, Super Bowl champ, 1996 All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1990 All-Decade Team, just recently into the Hall of Fame, San Francisco 49er defensive tackle, ex-Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Nope.
Bryant Young.
Damn. 0 for today.
Oof.
0 for today. I got some interesting news here. I thought
What do you got, sir?
I thought you'd get a kick out of this headline. The dumbest questions college kids text their parents. So a comedian was able to, like, I don't know, somehow he scrubbed through social media and found some things that were posted by parents of what their college students said to them. So here's just a little sample. So one guy posted that his son asked if Italian was a language. Obviously, dad said yes, and he said, and the kid said, "Wow, I thought it was just an accent." Like, okay. One parent talked about how her daughter was getting, must have gotten sick and went to the doctor on campus or whatever, or locally. And the daughter kept referring to her insurance copay as a cover charge. Wonder what she's doing.
Wow.
How about this one?
Keep
Some
your daughter
driving
off
stuff.
the pole.
Dad was saying that a driver pulled in front of us. He's taking his son to school, and the driver pulled in front of us, and his son screamed, "Quick, press the honk button." All right. And this daughter, I don't know how the hell she's going to graduate from college, but the daughter asked what blinker she should use to go straight. Scotty, which blinker do you use when you want to go straight?
Hazards. Wow.
This one son, while he was filling out applications and saw a list of things that he had to do to get into the school, said to his parents, I need a pap smear.
What in the world?
I guess he doesn't know what a pap smear is. Let me see. One college freshman asked if the Pink Panther was a lion. And then okay, and I'll leave you with this one. I got 2 more here. One daughter thought that a Brita pitcher refilled itself with the humidity in the refrigerator. That would be a cool invention, by the way. But listen, no, dear, you're gonna have to fill it with tap water.
You have kids that are approaching high school soon, dude. This is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. This is modern education. And finally, one daughter asked her mom, "How do you make pancakes round?" Just pour, bro. Just pour. So That's the future. That is the future.
That is, and I bet you there's more that if you keep going. I bet you there's a lot more.
There were a few others that just make you scratch your head. But college is clearly paying off. College is clearly paying off. Good work, my man. We will have our Super Bowl preview next week. Maybe we'll get into a little more basketball. One of my favorite events comes up next week. Next Thursday, it starts. Every Super Bowl weekend is the Phoenix Open, the Waste Management Phoenix Open. A lot of fun. You'll see the 16th hole, 15th or 16th
17th,
hole,
15th,
17th
16th,
hole, somewhere up
16,
there.
Yeah.
The stadium court, the stadium hole, par 3. A lot of fun. You know, it's the one hole where fans are encouraged to yell, scream,
be rowdy,
drink a little. Yeah, sometimes you get some cans thrown onto the course. It is what it is. It's a lot of fun, though. And I just think, for me personally, it's a great way to lead into the Super Bowl. So we'll have some of that next week. But you have, like, the Pro-Am this weekend, right?
Pro-Am right now, yep.
Pro-Am is on right now. So, and then you also have the Senior Bowl this weekend. If you are, you know, some of us love our college football. Senior Bowl is a nice thing to watch because you get to see. I will tell you this. Guys often climb the board on the draft board more because of an unusually good Senior Bowl representation than they do at the combine. Like if some people had a question about a guy and, you know, say like a defensive end from a smaller school and he dominates like tackles from Alabama and Tennessee and South Carolina, people are like, oh shit, okay, didn't see this coming. Like, sure, you were great at Troy, but you're dominating, you know,
Wisconsin lineman or yeah.
So the Senior Bowl, for those football junkies out there that are interested in the draft, Senior Bowl is a cool thing to watch. And I have it over my shoulder. If you're watching us on YouTube, over my shoulder, they even have it on ESPN. They have Senior Bowl practice.
Yep.
So over the next couple of days, you can actually watch these guys practice. And trust me when I tell you that Senior Bowl practice is probably getting better ratings than the NBA Finals as well. So
what NFL teams are coaching? What's represented?
Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator from the Chicago Bears, is on one team, and I cannot remember.
No, because they don't have a staff really yet, right? So,
I feel like there was a guy who it looked like he had a Texans logo on, or maybe it was a Falcons logo. I think it was Falcons logo. The quarterback's coach from the Falcons is there also for the other team. So, but it's just fun. It's a cool thing to watch. You get to see some guys that you may not have seen play because they come from smaller schools, showing up and playing well and making a little name for themselves. So, fun little thing to watch. For Scott Bracey and Pete Calisano, you've been watching and listening to Bump and Run, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later. Boop. Oh, Josh Allen just missed a fucking 2-foot putt. Oh my good lord.
He's not so banged up that he can't play golf though, huh?
No, because he just put a nice wedge in that spot and then missed the putt.
Of course he did.
So familiar.
Know the scenario very well. Very well.
God.
Cool. All right, I'll have this up not too long. I'll definitely get this out tonight.
All right, brother. Have a good
night. All right, dude. Talk to you later.
Later.
You too.